Start of Anarchy. They're trained by the DNC. Democratic heads roll after video shows agitators planted at Trump rallies. And what they were doing was, of course, criminal. The Washington Times, Valerie Richardson says, 2 top Democratic strategists have exited the presidential campaign after explosive undercover video shows them discussing voter fraud and their roles in planting paid agitators at campaign events for Republican candidate Donald Trump. Robert Creamer found the Democratic advocates Janice Schakowsky, Illinois Democrat, stepped down from the campaign on Tuesday, day after Scott Fovell was fired from his post as National Field Director of Americans United for Change. Donald Trump, who has long complained of a rigged election system, and he was right, because this is exactly what's happening in this case, said at a Tuesday rally in Colorado that the video released by the conservative group Project Veritas Action confirmed his suspicions of Democrat-sponsored political chicanery. The protesters are paid a lot of money by the Democratic National Committee, the DNC, and they kept saying, quote, "I wonder why those people are here, because they never seem to have much on their mind other than stand up and protest," end quote. That's what Donald Trump told a crowd in Colorado Springs, adding, "And yesterday it came out, but it was barely covered by the media, but it's all over the internet. They were busted." Brad Woodhouse, Americans United for Change president, said in a late Monday statement that Mr. Fovell is no longer associated with Americans United for Change. He insisted that the Democratic political consulting firm has always operated according to the highest ethical and legal standards. Mr. Creamer, a 4-decade Democratic strategist who pleaded guilty in 2005 to charges of bank fraud and tax violations, said in a statement that he was unwilling to become a distraction to the important task of electing Hillary Clinton. Mr. Creamer said, who's also featured in the videos, quote, "We regret the unprofessional and careless hypothetical conversations that were captured on hidden cameras of a temporary regional contractor of our firm, and he is no longer with us," end quote. The 2 16-minute videos were released Monday and Tuesday after a year-long undercover investigation headed by Project Veritas' James O'Keefe, known for his hidden camera probes into Planned Parenthood, Acorn, and voter fraud. Mr. O'Keefe said the investigations reveal, quote, "compelling evidence of a dark money conspiracy," end quote, and that he would continue to release videos as part of a series titled Rigging the Election until voters go to the polls on November 8th. The first video shows Democratic strategists discussing how they hire agitators, including union members, homeless people, and even the mentally ill, to entice violence by provoking Donald Trump supporters on camera at campaign stops. Project Veritas released a second video Tuesday showing Mr. Fovell brainstorming over ways to commit voter fraud, such as by busing people from one state to another, while appearing to indicate that it had already been done in Iowa. Mr. Fovell said, quote, "It's a pretty easy thing for Republicans to say, well, they're busy busing people in. Well, you know what? We've been busing people in to deal with your effing assholes for 50 years, and we're not going to stop. We're just going to find a different way to do it." So, I mean, I grew up with that idea. They used to bust people out of Iowa. If they needed people there, we'd bust people out to Iowa, end quote. The same video shows Mr. Creamer discussing a proposal by a Project Veritas investigator to register people to vote illegally by setting up a shell corporation. So we're going on with this article, evidence of rigging the election, and obviously with the knowledge of Hillary Clinton. Creamer said, "I'm going to write down these options. Let me see if I can chat with the people who are most involved in Hispanic voter registration," end quote. Fovell, who has worked for the George Soros-funded people for the American Way, said his paid agitators fueled a Chicago protest in March that forced the Trump campaign to cancel its event. Fovell said, quote, "They're starting confrontations in the line, right? They're not starting confrontations in the rally, because once they're inside the rally, they're under Secret Service control. When they're outside the rally, the media will cover it no matter where it happens. The key is initiating the conflict by having leading conversations with people who are naturally psychotic," end quote. Enticing Donald Trump supporters was easy, he said. Fovell said, "I mean, honestly, it's not hard to get some of these assholes to pop off. It's a matter of showing up to want to get into the rally in a Planned Parenthood t-shirt or Trump is a Nazi. You know, you can message to draw them out and draw them to punch you," end quote. Another operative, Aaron Black, who identifies himself as Deputy Rapid Response Director for the DNC for all things Trump on the ground, said he was with Mr. Creamer's group, Democracy Partners, but that his work was supposed to be secret. Black said, "Nobody's really supposed to know about me, so the Chicago protest, when they shut all that, that was us. It was more Creamer than me, but none of this is supposed to come back to us because we want it coming from people. We don't want it to come from the party." He said the idea for the protest to appear spontaneous, not orchestrated by the DNC. He said, "So if we do a protest and if it's branded a DNC protest, right away the press is going to say partisan," said Mr. Black, also known as Aaron Minter, according to the video. "But if I'm not," quote, "but if I'm not there coordinating with all the groups on the ground and sort of playing field general, but they are the ones talking to the cameras, then it's actually people. But if we send out press advisories with DNC on them and Clinton campaign, it just doesn't have the same effect," end quote. That's what he said. The same day the video was released, Mr. Black posted a photo on Twitter showing protesters outside Trump Tower holding signs with a message such as, "Trump demeans women." Keeping the protesters connected to the DNC hidden from the press was a priority, Fovell said. "We have to be really careful because what we don't want is for it to show up on CNN that the DNC paid for X people that's not going to happen," he said. Mr. O'Keefe said the first video raises questions about whether the Clinton campaign is coordinating with super PACs and independent expenditure committees in violation of campaign finance rules. The Clinton campaign, DNC, Americans United for Change, and the Democracy Partners did not return requests for comment on Tuesday. The only public criticism of the video has come from foes of Mr. O'Keefe's past work, such as Salon's Brendan Gauthier, who said Project Veritas has been criticized for strategically editing footage to make false accusations. In the video, Fovell made clear his connection to DNC and the Clinton campaign. He said, "We are contracted directly with the DNC. We are contracted directly with the DNC and the campaign both. I am contracted to Mr. Creamer, but I answer to the head of special events for DNC and the head of special events and political for the campaign." This is what Fovell said. And he also added, "The campaign pays DNC, DNC pays Democracy Partners, Democracy Partners pays the Fovell Group, and Fovell Group goes and executes the shit on the ground." Mr. Creamer indicated that he was in close contact with the Clinton campaign, saying, quote, "We have a call with the campaign every day to go over the focuses that needed to be undertaken. Every day," end quote. Creamer said, "Wherever Trump and Pence are going to be, we have events, and we have a whole team across the country that does both consultants and people from the Democratic Party and Democratic Party apparatus, and people from the campaign, the Clinton campaign, and my role in the campaign is to manage all that." Another activist, Zulema Rodriguez, told the Project Veritas investigators, quote, I just had a call today with the campaign and the DNC, every day at 1 o'clock, end quote. She also took credit for being involved with the 2 anti-Trump events in March, the Chicago rally and another in Arizona, in which anti-Trump reporters blocked a highway. Federal Election Commission records unearthed by Project Veritas show that Ms. Rodriguez was paid nearly $2,000 February 29th by the Hillary for America campaign. In conversations with Project Veritas reporters, Fovell described his operation as bird dogging, meaning that he places hired protesters in key positions at Republican campaign events, often in front of rallies or lines. He said he has training centers in New York, Washington, Las Vegas, Colorado, Minneapolis, and that trainees include the mentally ill and even homeless people. Fovell went on to say, "I'm saying we have mentally ill people that we pay to do SHIT, make no mistake. Over the last 20 years, I've paid off a few homeless guys to do some crazy stuff, and I've even taken them for dinner, and I've also made sure that they had a hotel and a shower and put them in a program. I've done that," end quote. He also has contacts with unions, such as the AFL-CIO, but the reality is a lot of people, especially our union guys, a lot of union guys, they do whatever you want, Fovell says. They'll rock and roll. Fovell also made it clear that he viewed Kramer as a mentor. He says, "I work for Bob Kramer one-to-one. While I'm the white hat, Democracy Partner is kind of dark hat. Bob Kramer is diabolical, and I love him for it." I'll leave a link below for you so that you can watch the 16-minute very revealing video. This is obviously proof and evidence that the DNC and Hillary are behind things that are actually criminal because of the fact that it's turning violent, and they're lucky that people have not been killed by these riots. I'll leave a link below for you for this on State of the Nation.